Welcome back for another video. Let's break down everything we learned from last game week, and I'll talk about my transfer plans for the coming weeks, and also that Liverpool and Everton double game week and when that's expected to drop in. Drop a comment below of how you're getting on this game week as well, points wise. Arsenal 0, Everton 0. Gabriel at last back in the team as Arsenal kept their 6th clean sheet of the season. In fact, this was actually also Everton's 6th. Remarkably, Ashley Young, who turns 40 next year, is now the joint 3rd top scoring defender with 10 returns from goal contributions and clean sheets in 16 games. As many points as Saliba and Trent actually. Arsenal defence doing its job with only 2 shots conceded, 1 in the box, 0.09 expected goals conceded. They just couldn't break Everton down to get the goal they needed. 13 shots taken, 1.22 expected goals. A blank from Saka. Perhaps we should be looking at the Everton defence when that postponement drops in as a double game week later. On that note, it's been reported that the postponement's been penciled in for the 11th of February, which would be Game Week 24. If or when that gets officially announced, it'd be a double game week of Leicester home and Liverpool home for Everton, and Liverpool would have Bournemouth away and Everton away. So if you've got your triple captainship, that's a prime opportunity to use it on Salah there. It's also a potential week to activate the new assistant manager chip, which becomes available that week, whether it's on slot or Daesh. The chip lasts for 3 game weeks. The following 2 game weeks, Everton have got Palace and Man United, so there is potential for big bonus points if they're 5 places behind them. Liverpool will have Wolves and then Man City afterwards, so you'd probably want to transfer a slot to someone else for that City fixture. Arsenal are home to West Ham that week, Spurs away to Ipswich, a couple of potential options there. Whenever that does get announced, we'll cover it more in videos near the time, so make sure you're subscribed. Liverpool 2, Fulham 2. That Arsenal result even more frustrating for fans as Liverpool came away with just a point at Anfield. Robertson with a red card in the 16th minute after a poor touch and taking up the last man trying to recover. Raul started and he came off for Muniz, who actually scored in the 76th minute to put them ahead, with Jota responding in the 86th minute for his first appearance since Game Week 8 in the league. Robinson was absolutely outstanding and he'd no doubt be a popular Aït-Nouri replacement. 2 assists for Robinson that match to put him on 6th for the season. Captaincy was one of the biggest talking points last week, wasn't it? And it really was a coin toss. No amount of analysis can account for a first half red card, though Salah did at least get an assist, so it wasn't a blank for him. Newcastle 4, Leicester 0. In Ruud van Nistelrooy's first 3 games in charge of Leicester, they've conceded 74 shots, 51 of those in the box, by far more than any team. Newcastle's 3.79 expected goals was the highest on Saturday. Leicester were missing Ndidi, Sumari and Wings, which was something we discussed on the deadline stream, and Isak's potential there. It was Chowdhury and Skip in the heart of midfield. And as predicted, Isak delivered with a goal and an assist. That's 9 returns in his last 8 games, coming from 6 goals and 3 assists, and they're up against Ipswich next. Hall came away with 2 assists, a clean sheet and maximum bonus for a 15-point haul. Well played if you had him in your team. Gordon was back in the starting 11 after a bench in the previous match and he got an assist. Murphy got brace as well before coming off early. Leicester are up against Wolves next, so let's talk about Wolves. Where do we even start with Wolves? Wolves won Ipswich 2, from bad to worse for them. O'Neill sacked today following the defeat as well. A very eventful match. Aït-Nouri picked up his 5th yellow card of the season, only to get a red card after the final whistle for getting in a scrap, leaving him on -2 points. And he'll subsequently go back to being on 4 yellows, 1 more from suspension on his return. He'll miss next game week though. Cunha also lashed out at an Ipswich member of staff, striking on the back of the head and grabbing his face. He could be in line for a ban as well, so if you've got him, hold on to your transfers and see what happens there. He did score Wolves' only goal, and they do have Leicester next, so he's an easy hold if he avoids a ban, but it wouldn't be surprising after seeing that footage post-match if he does get a ban. 2 points from Aït-Nouri's last 4 games, 0.5 points per game. What a disappointment he's ended up. Hall, Robinson and Colwell are the standout Aït-Nouri replacements for me. Robinson I think is the best one of the bunch. He's got Southampton, Bournemouth and Ipswich home, all in the next 4 games, with Chelsea away in Game Week 18. While the Manchester derby certainly didn't disappoint if you're a neutral, or if you had Ahmad, Bruno or Vardiol. Absolutely crazy game. Vardiol scoring off a KDB cross to put City ahead, and they looked to have the 3 points in the bag until Ahmad won a penalty in the 88th minute, which Bruno buried, only for Ahmad to poke the win over Ederson in the 90th minute. Foden was back in the starting 11 for City. He took 4 shots, just 0.4 XGI. Still waiting for his first league goal of the season. Haaland had a poor game. He took 1 shot in total, which was in the box, just 0.14 expected goals. It's looking like Ahmad's breakout season, that's for sure. He could make an absolute mockery of the 5 mil price tag, with 2 goals, 7 assists so far for 65 points. He's on more points than Mitoma, Rogers, Smith Rowe and Gordon. Man United are home to Bournemouth next, and then Wolves away. Chelsea versus Brentford ended in a 2-1 win thanks to goals from Cucurella and Jackson, Madueke and Enzo with the assists. Cucurella did an 8 Norrie and he got a red card after the final whistle, so he'll be suspended for Gameweek 17 when they're away to Everton. Palmer was actually on for 2 bonus points around 90 minutes, but he lost them in the final minutes, as was Cucurella actually, who obviously lost his for the yellow card and then the red. Who else but Mbeumo pulled one back for Brentford in the 90th minute to wipe the clean sheet. Brentford have switched to a front two of Mbeumo and Visser against tougher opponents faced recently, which has seen Mbeumo more involved than he previously was when playing wider. Southampton versus Spurs was over before it was even half time. Maddison opened proceedings inside the first minute, Son in the 12th, Kulusevski 14th, Sarr 25th, and then Maddison again just on the stroke of half time. Huge points from Maddison and Son, double digit returns. There was no goals in the second half. A stroke of luck for Porro owners though, who was benched, and he came on for the injured Udogie just before 30 minutes, meaning Porro still just barely played long enough to get the clean sheet points. Southampton clearly a team to target. They're away to Fulham next as well, so more opportunities there for the likes of Robinson, Iwobi and Jimenez. Moving on to transfer plans and early team selection thoughts for Gameweek 17. My team is Raya in goal, a back three of Colwill, Gabriel and Van Heck. In midfield, Bowen, Palmer, Saka and Salah, and up front, Wood, Strand Larsen and Isak. Now again, captaincy's looking like another coin toss. Palmer and Salah looking equally good to me, I'd say. Palmer away at Everton, Salah away at Spurs. Everton have shown their capability to sit deep and shut up shop to frustrate opponents, while Spurs play very differently, and they're missing Vicario, plus Davies, Romero and Van de Ven potentially. At the moment I've got it on Palmer, but we'll see by the deadline. Got one free transfer and there's 2 paths I'm considering. Option 1 is to roll the transfer for Gameweek 17 and probably Gameweek 18, and then I downgrade Bowen before he's got Liverpool and upgrade Porro to get Trent. Option 2 is selling Bowen for Iwobi next game week. Now this is the riskier but higher upside path, I'd say. It gets me Iwobi home to Southampton next game week, plus he does have Bournemouth and Ipswich home in game week 19 and 20, and I'd bench him for Semenyo when Iwobi's away at Chelsea and Semenyo's home to Palace. The reason I'm considering this is it gives me the money for Porro to train in game week 18 instead when he's home to Leicester rather than game week 19. The only way I can afford Trent is selling Bowen, so I either sell Bowen now or I'll wait until game week 19, because I obviously wouldn't sell Bowen before he's got Southampton away before that. Iwobi has been going under the radar for 5.7 mil. He's quietly having a brilliant season. Only Salah, Palmer, Saka and Mbeumo have got more points among midfielders at the time of recording. If I didn't go for Iwobi, then I'd have to play Porro away at Forest as well, or Van Heck home to Brentford in game week 18, which isn't as high upside for me. I couldn't afford any other issues in game week 18 either though if I do it, or it's a possible -4. There is another option if I was to roll, which would be to sell Strand Larsen for Stewart and then Porro to Van Dijk. I can afford Van Dijk but not Trent if I do that. Instead I'd sell Bowen for Eze most likely when Bowen's got Liverpool and Eze's got Southampton home in game week 19. The only thing at the back of my head is Trent did have a really poor game against Fulham. I don't know whether it was lethargy from being a man down or only just back from injury, or maybe he's already thinking about Real Madrid, I don't know. Is he completely nailed, or could Bradley get a game here and there in right back? Obviously Bradley's out right now, but maybe it's possible. Which path do you like more? Roll for 2 game weeks or go Iwobi and Trent? There's lots more FPL content to come before Game Week 17, so make sure you subscribe. See you soon for the next one.